Sounds good. Sure. We're pleased to be joined by Isaiah Wong, Jordan Miller, and Sam Wardenberg. The student athletes will be available in this room for 20 minutes. Following that, they'll be available in the breakout rooms, and at that time, we'll have Coach Larinaga join us. As a reminder, we have microphone holders on both sides of the room. If you have a question, please raise your hand. If you would, please start your question with your name and affiliation. We'll go ahead and get started. One more additional thing, sorry, for our attendees who joining us on Zoom, if you have a question, please use the raise hand function, and we will work in your questions as well. Go in the front on the left.
All right, Michelle Coffin for the Miami Herald. Congratulations to all of you. I guess I'll ask Jordan, how did you guys celebrate last night? Was there any type of celebration? What did you guys do when you left? What was the bus like? Can you just kind of describe what it's like to be an Elite Eight team as you were leaving the building?
I think the locker room was our biggest celebration. Obviously, it was good vibes, positive vibes all around. When we left the arena, it's about 1 a.m., almost 1 a.m., so, it's pretty late. We needed to get a good night's sleep, rest up for the game tomorrow. We were all happy. We had pizza at the hotel, so, we got to talk, chat a little bit. But I think the most important thing was, all just getting rest, rehydrate, refuel.
Go in the middle on the second row.
All right, hello again, guys. David Song, Sports Capital Journalism, and this one's for Sam and Jordan. So the two of you plus Cameron combined for 56 of 70 points last night, and that was as many points as Iowa State scored as a team. So what was it like carrying the offensive load throughout most of the game, and how are you guys able to shoulder that challenge?
Sam?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we carried the offensive load because, Charlie, he runs the team like a true point guard. He had like 9 assists, some amazing passes. And Zay, he was doing his thing. He got hot in the second half there as well. That's kind of been all season. We don't rely on any one person really. We know we can always work well as a unit. The guys came in off the bench. I know they didn't score, but they gave us great energy as well. Forced some turnovers there. It's always a team effort with this team, and that's what makes us special.
Jordan, you want to add to that?
I think he summed it up pretty well.
Go to on the left side.
Hi, guys. Jake Cohen, Associated Press. Jim's obviously had success over the years in the tournament, going back to George Mason and things like that. Is there something about what he does this time of the year that helps you guys be successful? Any changes, anything that you could point to that, it pays off this time of year?
Isaiah, you want to take that?
I would just say going to the tournament, he always lets us know, like, every day, hey, just be you. At the end of the day, just play free and just play together as a team and just help the team as much as possible, play hard, and just be yourself at the end of the day. And I feel like with that feeling, it just makes us even better as a team.
Go to the back row on the left.
Zach Boyer from the Lawrence Journal-World. Jordan, having come from George Mason, what was kind of the legend of Jim Larinaga when he was there, and then having the chance to meet him and talk to him after going through the recruiting process? What was that like, and the relationship you formed?
Yeah, being at George Mason, it's hard not to hear about his success there. Coach L, actually, when I first talked to him, he actually said, do you know about my success at George Mason? Yeah, but the transition's been smooth. Trusting the coaching staff, Coach O specifically, seeing his vision, even though they dealt with injuries a lot last year. It's just been an incredible journey. I think, kind of like Zay mentioned, we're just being ourselves, having fun, just trying to stay together, stay connected, and, really make a run.
In front on the left.
Hi, Michelle Kaufman again from Miami Herald. Sam, you've all talked a lot about having fun, and Coach L talks about having fun. Cam mentioned last night that during warm-ups you guys like to be the loudest, and I've been watching the warm-ups. What is that thing that you guys do with the ball at the end? Can you explain that?
Honestly, we're a bit all over the place. I don't think we have a plan for anything, but during this tournament, we've I'm the wrong person to ask because I know nothing about football, but we kind of set the ball up, put it on the ground, and then
Like tee it up.
yeah, tee it up. That's the word.
Should we have one of you
Yeah,
guys?
that'd be best, probably.
Can one of you guys explain what you guys are doing there with the basketball? And it looks like you're like going to kick a field goal or something.
Honestly, it kind of just progressed. It started off, before the huddle, we usually just smack the ball to get hype, get the energy going. And then one day we decided to just, pretend like we're going to punt it. And it just kind of went from there. It gets us, ready for the game, excited, gets us smiling, gets us loose.
And that's just during this tournament that you started doing that part?
I think it's done the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
Doing that. It wasn't planned. It just happened one day.
And then we just went with it,
Yeah.
it just kind of became a thing.
All right, thank you.
We'll go to the front row on the right.
This is for any of you guys. Mike Cunio, CBS Miami. Now that you've done the quick turnaround in the tournament, going from one team to the next in just less than 48 hours, what's the challenge? What have you learned about? What's the challenge about learning about a team on such short notice?
Isaiah, you want to take that?
With different teams, it's like they all play differently. So with coming into the next game, it's just how they play. They got different players. So just with the day of just learning like what they do, and the hard player just trying to learn as fast as possible on how to play defense, how to know the other players' weaknesses and know what they're really good at. So I feel like those are the stuff that we really need to do in the short term.
Is it like cramming for a test?
I don't say it's like cramming for a test because it just happened. It's like naturally, but when you come into the game, it's just like, you don't know as much, but you still know like a little. So you just come in, just play the game play the game as best as possible.
Go to the front row on the left.
Ruthie Polinsky, NBC6 Miami. Guys, I guess Sam or Jordan, what stands out to you about Kansas and just your initial preparation, and how much of your game plan is just going to be about what you guys do well versus preparing for this team?
Yeah, obviously looking at Kansas, they're a very talented team. They've been the top team in the country all year long. They've got size. They've got guys who can shoot the ball. Very talented. We've got a lot more film to watch tonight. Going to go out to practice now, get ready for that, trust in the game plan that the coach is going to give for us. But we've done a great job making sure that we stick to what we want to do in these games. Our big emphasis has been disrupting teams, forcing turnovers, and we're not going to shy away from that. We're going to keep that on. And, we might have to make a few adjustments based on personnel, but, we're going to be ready.
Stay in the front row on the right side.
Guys, just Sam, a quick follow. You got your wrist wrap, so how's your wrist? Thumb? You're all good.
It's all good.
And for Isaiah, what makes this team so dangerous?
What makes this team so dangerous is just like we have a lot of ball handlers on our team. I feel like 1 through 5, we all can ball handle. So with that, it's hard to guard, and it's just it's a real problem in the team that play against us. With the players we have, we can play with each other. We can make for each other and just help. Like if somebody have an off game, there's always somebody that's going to drop 20 or 25. So it's just it's hard to try to focus on one player when we got 5 players that can score and make and play defense at the same time. So it's hard to defend Miami.
Go in the front row on the left.
Sam, can you talk about what Jordan has brought the team? I mean, I think everyone knew a little more about Charlie coming in, but no one knew that much about Jordan. What has he brought this team?
Yeah, well, we knew as a team, obviously with practice during the summer, how good Jordan was. I think Coach Elvis pointed on it many times, probably the best offensive rebounder I've ever seen. His ability to tip the ball in, it doesn't even seem like he gets a full hand on the ball. He just somehow makes it go in, but he's incredible. And, the last couple of months, he's definitely been, our X factor and our biggest player, really. I think I saw last night when I was rewatching the game that, for most of the season, you average like 9 points, but in the month of March, he's averaged 15 points, and that's huge. That's a huge step up, and it's obviously shown that he's had such a big impact on this little run at the end here. And yeah, he's just amazing for us, and we've known it all year long.
Go to the middle on the fourth row.
David Lawrence, Kansas Radio. Jordan and Isaiah, just a little bit about Kansas. Your thoughts early, if you've seen Remy Martin, Ochai Agbaji, your thoughts of him, and also, I'm guessing when you're eating pizza last night, Charlie was filling you in a little bit about Kansas, and what did you hear from Charlie about the Jayhawks?
Jordan, you want to take that?
Yeah. In Kansas, blue blood, they're a good team. They showed that they've been a good team all year. I think at this point in the tournament, everybody can play. St. Peter's making a run, being in the Elite Eight. I think it comes down to, who wants it more. Executing the game plan, taking care of the ball, just little things, the fundamentals. It should be a good game, just who has the most heart out there.
Go ahead, Sam.
Kansas is a good team. They look like they play hard and play with each other, they play good with each other, and they're tough. They're a tough team, and they're ranked for a reason. So coming into the game, like Jordan said, we're going to play. Whoever plays the hardest, feel like is going to win the game.
Go on the left side, third row.
Yeah, Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. Sam, just wondering how your experience as a team collectively, whether guys that have been in the program or guys coming in with experience like Charlie and Jordan, have affected this run and just your overall play as a team.
Yeah, the experience has helped us all season long. We've been in so many close games throughout the season, especially through ACC play, and that prepares you so well for March Madness and tournament play at the end of the year. And that experience, it just holds everyone together. If we've been in moments of adversity through games, there's no pressure really. There's no one getting crazy. Everyone's just cool, calm, and collected. And Coach Al does a great job of making sure that that's happening, and there's a lot of positivity around us. And I'll also give credit to our freshmen as well. They've been amazing. Bensley is a natural leader himself. He's probably one of the most vocal guys actually on our team. Everyone's just doing an amazing job, and the team's really coming together.
Go to the front row on the right.
Sam, just a small follow-up on something you said. You watched the game back last night. I know it was a late night. Is that something you normally do after every game, or is it something you guys decided to do together, or is it just kind of part of your process?
No, yeah, I had a lot of adrenaline and whatnot after a big win last night, so I couldn't really get to sleep. So yeah, I just watched the game back. It's something I usually do after most games. Yep.
Go to second row on the right.
Hey again, guys. So Jordan and Sam, you guys have run a small ball system very successfully all year, and you're going to face Kansas, a bigger team that does grab a lot of rebounds. But even though you guys aren't the biggest unit, you've proven capable of handling and defeating big teams that are supposed to have the advantage in the paint. So what is it about Miami that allows you to defeat these bigger teams?
Jordan, want to take that?
Yeah. Again, credit to the coaching staff, for putting the pieces they had together and making the best, game plan they could all year. I think, just focusing on boxing out, not being the biggest team, little things, using our speed, using our agility to our advantage, is a big key. Rebounding, at the end of the day, I feel like it comes down to just heart and how bad you want the ball. Rebounding doesn't take any skill, nothing special. It's just a matter of, positioning a little bit and really wanting to get the ball.
Go to the front row on the left.
Michelle again from the Miami Herald. Can for any of you, all of you, who have you guys heard from a lot of people, since the game last night, maybe former players, what's the reaction been like among former Hurricanes or other people that you've heard from since last night?
Isaiah, you want to take it?
Definitely heard from a lot of people. My phone been blowing up from family to Miami Hurricane fans to cousins and all that. So it's been a great feeling that everybody's supporting, from people down in Philly and people down from wherever, just supporting, and they texting, DMing, all that. So they've been doing everything.
How about you guys? You're getting a lot of reaction?
Yeah, a lot. I tried to turn my phone off during all this, so I haven't really seen too much. But I know just a quick look at our Instagram page. I know we have a lot of support right now, and you can see in the crowd last night as well. Just amazing group of fans there supporting us, and hopefully that continues to grow and we get more people coming through.
Hey guys, Josh again from Channel 7 in Miami. You've been playing hoops your entire life. How much has it sunk in that you're one win away from the Final Four?
Honestly, it hasn't even sunken with me yet. It just feels so surreal. But, just trying to be focused and locked in, At this point, you almost have to play perfect basketball, and basketball is a game of mistakes. So just really trying to stay locked in the moment. I feel like, down the road, maybe a couple months later, with however far we make it, hopefully national championship, you'll look back and really be able to, take in all the glory and all the success that we had.
How do you stay locked in?
Just being prepared for the next game, enjoying, like I mentioned earlier, enjoying that win for the night. But as soon as that night's over, it's on to the next. Watching film, trying to gather as much information as possible.
Go to the middle, fourth row back.
Sam Brian Hamilton from The Athletic. Kind of going back to last year, I read somewhere that you when you were sitting out, the coaching staff had you do reports on each game. Can you kind of walk us through what went into that report, what you would break down, what information you would give the staff?
Yeah, so Adam Fisher, our assistant coach last year, he didn't want me just sitting down and, sulking or anything like that, thinking just about my injury or what I'm missing out. So he gave me these assignments to do and make sure I was locked into those games. And what I'd really do was just, I'd break down first each of our players individually, how they did on positions, if they messed up, made mistakes, things they did positively, in correlation with the scouting report that we gave on the other team. And then I'd do a section just as like a team defense in general and team offense as well. And start off like 3 pages, but as the season went on, I was able to get it down to like 1-2 pages. And give full credit to Coach Fish there. Helped me a lot. I don't think I'll be the player right now that I am playing at this level. Without that, it helped me build a basketball IQ and just gave me a better understanding for the game.
Got time for a couple more questions. We're going to go to Zoom for one of our questions. Christopher Heidel, if you want to unmute your line, you can go ahead.
Hey, this is Chris Heidel from Herberton Radio in Baltimore. This question is for Jordan. Jordan, growing up in Northern Virginia, what did you just talk about your basketball career growing up in Northern Virginia and how that take you to Elite Eight right now?
Yeah, usually in Northern Virginia, not a lot of players play Division I. I took the public school route, didn't play on the circuit. So, for me to be here is very unusual, but it's also exhilarating. Anything can happen. I'm just grateful, happy for this opportunity.
Any more questions for our student athletes? Okay, at this time, we're going to dismiss them. They're going to be able to go into the breakout rooms for the next 20 minutes. Anyone who wants to follow them can follow Casey in the back of the room. He'll lead you back to the breakout rooms. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Good job, guys. Appreciate it again.
Yeah, that one's fine. All right, we are pleased to welcome Miami head coach Jim Larinaga. At this time, we'll take questions. We'll go the far back left.
Jim, Jordan Gusky, Topeka Capital Journal. So much had to happen for you guys in Kansas to be matched up in the Elite Eight, not just in the tournament, but in the season. And obviously, this is Charlie's old team. Did you all talk about that potential at all? And now that it's happening, is that significant to you in any way that he's going up against his old team?
Honestly, no, we never spoke about it, and quite honestly, we won't even bring that up. That's not, I know it might be a great storyline for the media, but for us, it's not about Charlie versus his old team. This is about our team versus their team, and Kansas is a great basketball program. I just found out it's the winningest basketball program in college basketball history. I guess their win last night put them at #1. So for our players, it's a great opportunity to compete against the best. And, you know, to consider yourself amongst the best, you've got to beat really good teams. I think we've done that so far, and we're looking forward to the contest tomorrow.
Go to the second row on the right.
Coach, good afternoon. David Song, Sports Capital Journalism, over here. Yeah, so no doubt you've been coaching basketball longer than I've been alive. You've led Miami to 226 wins and counting, but this is going to be your first Elite Eight matchup with Miami. So how are you managing your thoughts and emotions as you continue to be a leader for this team?
Oh, that's interesting. I would say I'm going to approach tomorrow's game just like I do every game. I know there's a tendency to think that this game is more important than other games, but if you didn't make every game important, then you couldn't get to this game, and then whoever wins the game, they're going to have another important game in a week. So to us, you got to take things one game at a time, one day at a time. Focus on what you can control. Don't be distracted by the things you can't control. And do the best job you can of preparing your team to be the best they can be. And when you listen to those guys, they're really sharp. They're smart. Their basketball IQ is high. They listen attentively, and they understand the importance of doing little things well. If they didn't, we wouldn't be where we are.
Go to the back left.
Hey, Jim, Jay Cohen, Associated Press. I'm interested, how well do you know Bill Self? What kind of relationship you guys have, or anything like your encounters over the years, if at all? I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I've known Bill a long time. I have tremendous respect for him. He's done a fantastic job. His record in the Big 12 with winning regular season championships is unlike any other coach in the history of college basketball. And we've had the opportunity to spend time together. Sometimes we'd run into each other on the road recruiting. He's a great guy. I admire him and have great respect for he and his staff.
Next question on third row on the right.
Emily Jimbaba from the Washington Post. I'm just curious, your players talk a lot about enjoying the moment. For you on a personal level, are you able to ever take a step back and appreciate what you're accomplishing in a tournament that moves so fast? And has that changed over your coaching career at all?
It hasn't changed at all because I've been married for 50 years and my wife keeps me in line. You know, someone recently I met, said hello, kind of introduced myself, and they said, Coach, you know you're a celebrity. And then when that person left, my wife said, no, you're not.
We'll go to the fourth row in the middle.
Charlotte Edmonds, NBC Sports. Coach, you're obviously no stranger to upsets, both with George Mason and then most recently when Loyola went on their run starting it 4 years ago.
Oh, you had to bring that up.
On both sides of things. I was wondering if you could say, does this run feel different? And if so, how?
You know, I think every trip to the NCAA tournament is a special event for that team. And it is for me. It's a different group of guys, even if just 2 or 3 guys new are on your team. And this year we have half our team is new. So it's a special feeling to be able to enjoy it with them. And we've had some really great games this year, exciting games, 1-point finishes. We've won a lot of them, but we've lost a few, and losing hurts. And the competition at this level, it's the highest level of Division I basketball. And to know that you're one of only 8 teams in the entire country, when there are 358 Division I schools who'd love to be in this position, and there are only 8 that are, you feel very fortunate. And I think my guys realize this is not something that happens every day. For Kansas it does, but not for Miami.
We'll go to the fourth row in the center aisle.
Hi, Coach David Lawrence, Kansas Radio. What challenges do the Jayhawks present to you? Do they remind you of any ACC opponents? And then anything about in the individual players? Remy Martin's on a roll, Jalen Wilson, Ochai Agbaji, just your
You mean the whole
thoughts.
team, right?
Yeah, anything you can give us.
Really good players. Okay, so here's how I would describe Kansas initially. They play extremely aggressively at both ends of the floor and try to score on you by attacking the rim in the first 5 seconds of their possession. The best example I can give in our league is North Carolina. When we prepare for North Carolina, over the years, the game plan was always the same. The first and most important thing was to prevent the 5-second layup, because they were the best in the country, in my mind, at doing that. The next was Michigan State. So they were like 1A and 1B. And I think now Kansas is now probably 1A. They've surpassed it, Bill Self and his staff, primarily because they're not just a group of terrific basketball players. They're really great athletes who can play multiple positions. So when we look at their starting lineup, and you've got a guy like Jalen Wilson who's like 6'8", but he can play like a guard. He's not a slow, plodding big man. No, he's a high-flying Paul George type shooter, athlete, scorer, NBA draft choice. You know, those caliber of players. And Remy Martin, the same thing. He's lightning fast and incredible scoring ability. And when you play Kansas, the first thing you have to be able to do is try to get your defense back, because if you don't, they're gonna score on you fast and often.
Go to the front row on the left.
Hey, Jim, another follow-up. Michelle Kaufman again, Miami Herald. Follow-up on that. Having said all that about Kansas, how do you think that you guys match up with them? How do you think that your personnel matches up in that kind of a game?
You know, I've said this throughout the year. We don't actually match up great with teams because of our lack of size. So what we have to do is be disruptive in some way. And each team presents a different set of circumstances. Kansas actually plays a very simple brand of basketball. We're just better than you at this. Running a high-low, running ball screens, posting a guy up, getting out on the fast break. It's not like they have incredible schemes that my staff has to spend hours and days and weeks preparing, like how are we going to guard this? No, it's just like, man, those guys are just so good at what they do. And it's very fundamentally sound, and that's what makes them so consistently good every year.
Go to the front row on the right.
Hi, Coach. Josh Moser, Channel 7 in Miami. Just curious, what's your message to your team on the eve of the biggest game that they've ever played?
You know, the most important thing, and I tell them this every day and have since the tournament began, smile and stay loose. Enjoy the moment. This should be a heck of a lot of fun. I told a story last night in the pregame, and it didn't go over at all. I could tell the players like, what is this? Have any of you ever heard of the Cochrane Way? Anybody? Bueller? All right, so the Cochrane Way is about a family in Vermont, a small town in Vermont, and the dad goes to buy a home, and he just says, I want a home with a hill in the background. So my children can enjoy skiing in Vermont. That's a natural thing to do. And he only had one rule, was you had to ski to have fun. It was not about winning. It was not about competition. And then his 4 children went on to be Olympians. And the one grandson ended up having a terrible ski accident and broke his neck, had to have surgery on his neck, told he'd never ski again. And a year later, he won the silver medal in the Winter Olympics. So my message to them was, have fun. Just enjoy this moment, because March Madness is the greatest sporting event in the world. 3 weeks, and they call it the big dance because that's what it is. Everybody parties. Just look at the locker room after not the team that loses now, but you go into the locker room of the team that wins, everybody's having a blast.
Go all the way to the back on the left.
Matt Tate, Lawrence Journal-World. Jim, I know it was forever ago. You guys were both in Orlando, though. I wondered, did you have a book on Kansas then? Did you do that going into an event like that?
No, I didn't. We were focused on Dayton and didn't do such a great job of them. And they beat us, and the next day they beat Kansas. So the one thing I've said is, and I truly believe this, I think the NCAA tournament needs to expand. I think we need to go to 96 teams because there's so many great teams around the country that are not playing in the event. And if St. Peter's had lost in their tournament, they wouldn't have been invited. And yet you see how good they are. I feel the same way about Dayton, about Wake Forest in our league. And there's just so many good teams. And I think the NCAA tournament is the dream of every young basketball player in elementary school and high school. They go to college with the hopes of, hey, I want to play in the big dance. I want to be a part of March Madness. And yet we only include about 18% of the Division I teams. So that's 68 out of 358 Division I's. Why can't we just expand it one more round, have 96 teams, and have more teams participate? 32 more teams. I know it's 68, but I always think 64. So 32 more teams that are going to be very well deserving of being in the dance. And then you have more of these runs like the George Mason and the Butlers and the St. Peter's, teams that are very, very worthy and great competitors that, bring a lot of positive attention to March Madness and be more inclusive. If you look at certain teams, Kansas is one, Carolina, Duke, they go every year. There are a lot of teams that have never made March Madness. Those kids dream about it and never even really get a glimpse at it. So, we didn't look at Kansas back in November. We're going to take a close look today, though.
Go to the front row on the right.
Coach Mike Cunio from CBS Miami. You mentioned earlier about preparing for every game the same way. But what are your nerves like before games of this magnitude?
Honestly, the very same it is every single day of my life. Because I love coaching. I prepare the same way. And some opponents are more challenging because of how good they are. But my preparation, my staff's preparation is identical. I'm a great believer in routines. So we follow the same routine every single day.
Go to the third row on the left.
Yeah, Jim, Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. I'm just wondering, what was the value of adding experienced guards from the outside to a team that already had a lot of experience, and how that's come together for you?
One thing that I don't know how much it gets talked about on air, but I know from a coaching standpoint, we talk about it all the time. There's been two major changes in college basketball recently. NIL, which is terrific for the student athletes, and the transfer portal, which has allowed student athletes to transfer and play right away. So with that being now the norm, a lot of kids are transferring. In the ACC, I don't know what it is in the Big 12, but in the ACC, half the players in our league are new. They're either freshmen or transfers. That's a lot, half of your team. And not our team, every team. And that's where college basketball is going. So when we lost Chris Likes to transfer, we brought in Charlie Moore. They're about the same age, play the same position. You kind of fill somebody's shoes, and you hope you found someone who fits into your program. And Charlie's been absolutely sensational. The same with Jordan Miller. We found someone who is exactly the kind of person, student, and player that fills a role for us. And as these guys have said, he's a great player. And you think of a guy that rarely misses a shot. You know, yesterday he was 6 for 6 from the field, shooting over 70% in the last 6 weeks of the season. So, but you have to recruit the transfer portal, because bringing in high school kids alone makes you very, very young. And unless those are the one and dones, you're probably not going to be able to compete at a high level. And I think every team we face, we played Iowa State last night. They got more transfers than we do.
Go to the second row on the right.
Coach David Song, Sports Capital Journalism again.
Where are you? Oh, David.
Hello.
I keep missing you, David.
No worries, Coach. So yeah, last night against Iowa State, Cameron, Sam, and Jordan combined for 56 of your 70 points. They played heavy minutes, and your bench didn't score. So going into tomorrow, are you going to try to get your bench involved a little bit more to alleviate pressure on the starters at all?
No. Everybody knows their role. If the guys off the bench score, it's going to be because their teammates found them and they had a shot they know they can make that's within the scheme of things. So a guy like Anthony Walker, he might score 8 or 10 points tomorrow. I don't know. It's his kind of game. It's up and down. But same with Jordan Miller and Wugapapa. They've had games. Bensley's had double-digit games, and I think Wugga's maybe as high as 8. But there's not the pressure on them to produce points. The demand on them is play great defense and keep us within the offense. And if they score, that's a bonus. We'd love for the bench to score 10 to 20 points. That would be huge for us tomorrow.
Go to the far left.
Jim, Jake Cohen with AP again. You've kind of touched on some of these issues, but I'd like to hear it from you about. Seems like since you made that run in 2006 with George Mason, we've seen more and more double-digit seeds be able to make similar runs since then. Is there anything that you think? What do you think's changed over the years that allowed so many of these like mid-majors and smaller schools like St. Peter's to have these type of runs in March?
Well, I think right now it's the transfer portal. Kids wanting to get back closer to home who went away, or, I'm sitting on the bench someplace, but I think I could start at the other school. There's so much input in a player's life from his family, from his coaches, and they're always doing what I think we all do. They're always looking for the best situation possible for them to realize their dream. And I think it's very, very normal. So I just think that's what's happening. That's why I think we should expand the tournament to 96, because I think there's a lot of good teams out there and a lot of good players who nobody gets to see on the national stage.
Got time for just a few more questions. We'll go on the front row on the right.
Hey again, Coach. How much heart does your team have?
Yeah, huge. Yeah, I think one of the things that happens, I think, in life is that when you get knocked down, you find out who you are. If you stay down, you don't have much heart. But if you bounce back up and are willing to get knocked down again, that shows you got heart. And we've been knocked down. The last 3 years, we had 3 losing seasons. Not fun. But these guys, Sam, Isaiah, Cam, they weren't transferring out. They stayed and fought to get us back. And Rodney Miller, Dengak, injuries. Dengak sat out 2 full years. Rodney all last year. These guys were willing to come back. So they've shown huge heart. And that's why we're where we are.
Front row on the left.
Jim, I wanted to ask you just in the big picture, how much does a run like this help with recruiting and just, the national stature of your program being elevated by this run? You guys are a national story. You're all over, the broadcasts all over. How does that help you guys going forward as a program?
Well, I guarantee you there's more hits on the University of Miami website than ever before. I mean, that's just the natural tendency for people who watch you play and see the excitement and say, I want to find out about that university. They're probably finding out for the first time that the University of Miami is a private school with 10,000 undergraduate students. It's top 50 academically, and in Coral Gables, Florida, where the weather, averages 75 degrees every day and is sunny. It is marketing, it's branding. And the same is true for high school basketball players. All our potential recruits, even transfer students, are watching us play and trying to figure out, man, would I want to be a part of that? And if one of my coaches reaches out to them and said, look, I'm the assistant coach at the University of Miami. Man, the Hurricanes? The U? Oh, yeah, I'm very interested. And that's what exposure does. You guys create that for all of us.
Good time for one final question. We'll go to Zoom for it. Dave Stewart, feel free to unmute your line. Go ahead.
Ruthie's right in front. She wants to ask a question.
We'll get her one more.
Okay. Hey, Coach. It's Dave Stewart, ESPN Plus, KMBC in Kansas City. There are videos all over the internet going back several years of some of the great dances that you've done in the locker room, and you talked about this being the big dance. Do you know when a dance is coming? Can you tell, looking in your players' eyes, that they're begging for that moment when you just cut it loose for 30 seconds?
Well, this all began in 2013 when we played Illinois in the round of 32. And during the game, the Big Ten team was very physical, and we were battling, they were battling, and at every timeout, I just kept telling my team, we got to fight. We got to fight for every loose ball, for every rebound, for every possession. Just keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And we won the game like by 1 or 2 points. We went into the locker room, and I was trying to think of something motivational to say to them, of how proud I was of them. And the first thing I thought of was fighting. What do I do to say, oh, the greatest fighter of all time is Muhammad Ali. So I went in there and I said, I asked you guys to fight. You know what I saw out there? Muhammad Ali. And then I did my version of the Ali Shuffle. And it went viral. I didn't know that. I wasn't planning that. The players on the team loved it. And now that's become like expected. And I got a phone call from a good friend of mine, Billy Foley in New York, and he's saying, hey, you're making a fool of yourself, dancing. So.
One last question up front.
Ruthie.
This better be good. Thanks,
Yeah.
Coach. Ruthie Polinsky, NBC6 Miami. What's your definition of a well-coached team?
Well, when I speak to my staff, when we're evaluating an opponent, I always ask them, can you tell what their coaching staff is teaching them? And if you can, then that's a well-coached team. If they're so well-disciplined and have developed the habits that as an opponent you can easily recognize what they're doing, then you know that guy's a heck of a coach. So, and I'll use Iowa State as a good example. TJ and his staff did a fantastic job. They force sideline differently than a lot of teams. And when you can't get the ball reversed, when you're stuck driving the ball, what you think you're beating the guy baseline, and all of a sudden you get trapped, and it doesn't happen once, it happens every time you drive baseline. The consistency of performance is the way a coach is evaluated. Because his team, if they're doing what he's taught them, they'll do it day after day, practice after practice, and game after game.
Coach, thanks for your time. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow.
About 6 minutes. No, I don't think it matters. You can give him an extra space, or no, that's fine. Never mind. That's good. No, that's good. No, that's good. That's good. All right, we're pleased to be joined by Remy Martin, Ochai Abaji, and Jalen Wilson. As a reminder, we have microphone holders on both sides of the room. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll bring the microphone to you. If you would, please identify yourself by your name and affiliation. We'll get started on the second row in the center aisle.
Shea Wildeboard, JayhawksLand.com. For all three of you guys, big picture, this has kind of been the goal for you guys all year, one win away from the Final Four. How much does that drive you guys, or how much emotion is involved, and how do you guys contain that knowing that you don't play tomorrow till 1:20?
Ochai, you want to take that first?
Yeah, I mean, it is just really motivating, knowing how far we've come, all the work we put in, and, we're at this point, just as a team, and, we're just so close to obviously getting to a Final Four, dream for everyone on our team. So just staying focused, just staying locked in, and that's just what we're on right now.
Jalen, anything to add?
Yeah, like you said, we're just, going through from all the work that we put in. I think every single win we get just makes us even more hungry for the ultimate goal, and that's the championship. So I'm super excited and super hungry to play.
Remy?
Yeah, just super motivating, just to know how close we are and, all the hard work that we put in. So we're just going to continue to do what we need to do and stick to basics of what got us here, and the rest will take care of itself.
Go to the second row in the center aisle.
Okay, cool. Good afternoon, guys. David Song, IUPUI Sports Capital Journalism. First of all, congratulations on the win last night. And secondly, this one's for Remy and Jalen. So you guys, Ochai finished with a career-high 4 blocks last night, and he was a +6. So what are the things that he does to impact the game and help you guys win, even though he's not always scoring the basketball?
Remy, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, man. Ochai's an all-around player. That's why, he's All-American, and that's why he is who he is because he helps us in so many things on the court that people may not see on a stat sheet. And that's why he's the best player in the country. That's why he is what he is. He does so much on the court, and he does off the court as far as in talking to us, making sure everybody's good. He's just a leader, man, and that's why he's the best player in the country, period.
Jalen?
Yeah, I just say, from the entire year, teams know who we are, teams know who he is, and when we were in games and they want to play him certain ways and not try to let him get the ball, it just opens up lanes for us. So, no matter what's going on with him offensively, you're going to have to respect him because you know what he can do, and I think that helps our team so much because when teams try to adjust and play like that, it allows for us to, get the ball moving more. And when you have a leader that's so unselfish like he is, it just makes us flow so much better because we all have the same mindset. That's just to win.
Next question all the way on the left.
Hey guys, Danny Welniak, KCTV5 out of Kansas City. There was a pretty cool double half-court shot made at during practice from Lightfoot and Tehan. How are you guys staying loose, and how are you guys having fun during this time, and also kind of talk about that and witnessing that?
Ochai?
It was actually a quadruple double. There was like 4 half-court shots in a row that we made. So it was crazy, something that we've never seen, obviously. But everyone just kind of having fun, being present in the moment. We were playing Duck, Duck, Goose to warm up before practice. So everyone's just having fun. It just shows a lot about our team.
Go to the second row on the right.
Yeah, hi guys. Austin Lawton, IUPUI Sports Capital Journalism Program. Remy, you're shooting lights out right now. 23 last night, 13 in the first half last night. What does it mean to you to show people on the national stage that you are a scorer and you can play like you have been playing?
It feels good. It feels good to go out there and play my game. I think that, all the work that I put in the off season, I'm now able to showcase because I'm fully healthy, and my teammates and my coaches are allowing me and making my confidence higher and higher each game. So I'm just being myself out there. I'm happy that I'm healthy, thanks to, the trainers and everybody who's stuck with me, my family and everything. But I'm just happy to go out there and play my game the way I know how to play. And these guys have been extremely helpful throughout the whole process. So a big credit to, my teammates and my coaches for just believing in me.
Next question will be the fourth row on the left.
Yeah, Andy Seligman, AP. Ochai, what do you remember about Charlie Moore as a teammate?
Playing with Charlie, he's a great teammate. He was there my freshman year, so I was only there with him for 1 year until he transferred out. But he was a great teammate, really good passer, really aggressive, and can also score. And just his IQ for the game, his feel for the game, I think is something that's kind of unheralded. But he's a really good all-around player.
Next question will go third row on the right side. On the aisle.
Kenitra Pulliam, Big 12 now, ESPN Plus. Ochai, who's the Doug Goose champion?
Who got a winner? We didn't really get a winner. It was just kind of we played like a couple rounds, but the circle was too big, so it was kind of hard to catch, like for the person to catch up on them. But it was still fun though.
What is the balance between remaining aggressive but not hunting your shot?
Finding that balance, I think, comes within just the flow of the game. I've done in my time here at KU in my past 4 years, just understanding the flow of the game, where I find my shots at, and sometimes it is out of my character to go hunt shots. So just finding the flow of the game, where I'm going to get my shots, I know where I'm going to find those. So and also it just goes back to just trusting my teammates too, because they're actually responsible for a lot of the baskets I get. So just trusting them and trusting the coaches to put me in the right position. So that's it.
Go to the front row on the left.
Yeah, Jordan Mcgusty, Topeka Capital Journal. For each of you, this is the first chances that y'all are having to make a Final Four, but are there any memories in your lives previously playing basketball that measure up to whatever emotions you're feeling right now?
None. I don't think there's any.
No, I mean, for March Madness, this is the biggest stage I've been on as far as basketball in my life. And, being this close is super, super motivating for all of us. And, no, I don't think anything could match up to this at all.
Go to the back right corner.
Henry Asmer, Zagsblog.com. Ochai, heading into this season, what did you envision your role would be both on and off the court for the team?
It's simple. Just like what Remy was saying, just a leader. Anything that the team needs for me to do, whether that's talking, making sure everyone's right, or being aggressive, being that scorer, that main scorer for the team, just anything the team needed for me to do for us to be successful.
Second row on the left.
This is for Ochai and Jalen. Vahe Gregorian, Kansas City Star. Obviously, you would have preferred that Remy be able to be healthy and in the flow of things all season, but I'm curious what you think it's done for you guys to have such an added dimension this late in the season, how much you think that's reinvigorated what you can do and even made you a different team a little bit.
I would say just starting things off. I think it actually helped Remy too, watching throughout the season, watching how we play, and then also where he sees himself too. But when he's in the game and obviously in this postseason stretch, he's just brought a different dynamic offensively. It's really hard for other teams to scout us when you throw someone in even after conference when everyone's been heavily scouting us. So it just, like I said, just brings a different dynamic.
Go to the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just think he changes our team. I mean, completely when he comes in the game. With him being super aggressive like we want him to be and super confident and just being him and playing like the game that he knows how to play, I mean, it changes the complete aspect of who we are. I mean, we're able to be so much faster. The energy he brings with the excitement, getting the crowd involved, just those little things that we were missing takes our team to another level.
Go to the fourth row in the center aisle.
David Lawrence, Jayhawk Radio. Remy, at least one coach that saw you at ASU and have seen you recently at Kansas has said how much better defensively you are. I would like to see if you agree with that and cite examples. And then for Jalen, there's been a couple of instances you're always, getting downhill, being aggressive, but sometimes your attack mode just goes to the ultra level and just taking over games. So, Remy, go ahead.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that, that was one of the main reasons why I came here, not only to win, but better myself as a basketball player and cover all my bases for whatever the future holds for me. And I think that Coach Self and the staff and my teammates have held me to a standard which they know that I could reach with my quickness and my ability to recover, on the defensive end, just being able to reach that potential. And, I would agree with that statement because I feel like I'm more locked in defensively. Especially, just thinking the game itself, just knowing, little things. Coach Self has helped me on and give me a better insight You know, he's the best coach around. So learning from him has been an honor, and you know, I'm learning consistently every single day. So I would agree with that statement.
Jalen?
I think just being aggressive just comes within the flow of the game, taking what I can get from the defense, especially when I know my team needs me to get down to the paint and, you know, create plays, whether it's taking it to the hoop or making the right pass. Just me trying to be the toughest guy on the court, and you know, if that takes me driving and creating contact with fouls and getting to the free throw line, just anything to get us going, you know, with like a little spark. I know driving is kind of contagious with us. You know, one guy gets downhill, then the next guy does. So just trying to do that.
Go to the fourth row on the far left.
Hey, this is Jay Cohen, Associated Press. This is for any of you guys. You know, obviously, Bill Self's been in the public eye for a long time as a very successful coach. But I was wondering if you guys could share anything that surprised you about him from your interactions with him over the year. Anything that maybe we don't get to see, you know, as the media looking, you know, outside into your program.
Ochai, you want to take that?
Yeah. From when he started recruiting me, something that, I mean, obviously people know that he's a really good guy, just outside of coaching, but just, you know, how he treats people, how he treats everyone. He treats everyone, you know, the same way, even from players to managers to everybody. He's just a well, you know, rounded, nice human being. So I give him props to that. And just, you know, I think the motivating factor that he brings to our team and all the teams that he's coached is something that not a lot of people see. He'll always give speeches when we're watching film or stuff like that, and you'll be ready to go run through a brick wall right after. So that's just how he is, and he's just one of the best motivators that I've ever met.
Go to the second row on the center aisle.
Good afternoon again, guys. This one's for Ochai and Jalen. So Miami is very good in transition. They're very disruptive, and even though they're not a big team, they've shown the ability to defeat bigger teams. So for you guys, what will be the key to countering their strengths and finding a game plan that works against them?
I would say, obviously, containing their transition play. They play a lot of isolation, so it's going to be, you know, guard your man, know their tendencies, always have help, strong side help, all that stuff. So we're just going to need to be in sync defensively to disrupt what they're trying to do.
Got time for one last question in the back.
Hey guys, Sully Ingles, Cake News in Wichita. You know, Kansas men's basketball became the winningest program of all time last night. Obviously, there's bigger goals right now, and you've all been here at different lengths at Kansas, but just want to get your thoughts on that, being a part of that, what that means to you.
Remy, want to take that?
Me being a newcomer means a lot. Means a lot to be on this side of history, and just give thanks to all the teams and all the players that came before me. When I came to Kansas, you know, seeing all these players and seeing all the history, it made me want to be a better person, better basketball player. And, you know, I'm just thankful to be on this team and make history, but it's also a privilege, and I'm happy just to be a part.
Jalen, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I mean, it's just a blessing to be able to put my mark on such a historic school like Kansas with all the great players that came through here, and, you know, all the championships, all the wins, you know, just to be able to have like a small part in that is a blessing.
All right, at this time, we're going to let the players go to the breakout rooms. If you need directions to the breakout room, Casey's in the back there, could lead you. And we'll let the players go. We'll bring on Coach Self. Thank you. Let me grab it. All right, questions for Coach Self, second row on the left.
Hi, Bill. Just about Remy, I know, I'm sure in a perfect world you would have preferred he was healthy all season and sort of fit in the way you wanted to all season. On the other hand, I wonder how much of an advantage it is to have him emerge this way late and almost be like a, entirely new thing for people to scout and understand with your team.
Well, I think that, our goal going into the year was Remy Martin would give this team something that we needed. We needed speed, we needed personality, we needed explosiveness. And, he obviously provides all those things, but he hasn't had an opportunity to provide them really all year long. I think the first several games when he was here, he was still getting comfortable, and then he gets injured, and so somehow or another in the last 3 weeks or so, he's been able to combine comfort, personality, health, explosiveness, all these things in a way that we haven't even seen yet this year. So we've said all along that we had a chance to be a much better team than what we displayed, even though we had a really good year, just because of him, but not knowing what him really was. And so, it's been great. He's one of the few guys out there that can have a miserable or a very poor year by his own expectations due to things outside of his control. And he would tell you right now he's having the time of his life. It's been the best year ever, in large part just because it's gone well the last couple of weeks.
Is it okay for me to quick follow-up?
Sure, go ahead.
Is it almost better for you that it's played out this way?
I don't know. I don't know. I do think that there's something to. We look at Remy's stats, which have been fantastic for us, but we look at that and then sometimes we say, well, if he was more used to playing with Oach and Oach was more used to playing with him, could we have the combination of both a little better? I think it'd be like you get that healthy quarterback, but he hasn't really practiced with the receivers running patterns. So, but I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's been great for us. But I think the longer we can stay together and hang together, it's got a chance to be better than it has been.
Go to the second row on the right.
Coach Self, David Song, IUPUI Sports Capital Journalism. First of all, congratulations on the win yesterday. And secondly, in Miami, you face a team that is very good in transition, and they've proven capable of disrupting physically bigger teams. So in your opinion, what will be the key to countering Miami's strengths and being successful tomorrow?
Well, I mean, when you talk about standing height, maybe we have them an inch in most positions or whatever. I coached Charlie. Remy's not any bigger than Charlie or Juan. The two big guys are the same standing height. So I don't think there's a huge discrepancy size-wise. I think the fact that they can score off of turning people over is what we have to be concerned about. They can score in a lot of ways, and of course they can make hard shots. But the biggest thing is live ball turnovers leads to them really being able to utilize their offensive skill set, which is really strong. So we got to play 5-on-5 against them, and that'll be a big goal of ours tomorrow.
Go all the way to the back on the left.
Bill over here, Harold Kuntz with Fox 4 in Kansas City. This game and the Elite Eight game has always been kind of difficult for you over the years that you've been at KU and throughout your career. When it comes to just the Elite Eight game, what makes this game so difficult to prepare for and get your players to prepare for, knowing that that dangling carrot of the Final Four is just right there?
Well, I think there's you're exactly right. I think we're 3-7 in my career in Elite Eight games, so that's not good enough. I don't know that it is a different game because it's the hardest game in the tournament to not win. You can talk about first round, you can talk about whatever. It's the hardest game. In national championship finals, at least you're playing for it all, or whatever. But this one, every goal of every team is road to the Final Four. It's not road to the national championship. It's road to the Final Four. And even though the national championship is by far the biggest carrot and by, the biggest prize, and nobody will remember who's in the Final Four 10 years ago. They'll only remember the one cut down nets. In players' minds, that's the goal. That's how it's marketed. And they do such a good job of marketing it. But I think that makes the game a hard one not to win. It makes the game the second best one to win, at least in my experiences. So obviously not as important as the following Monday. But I don't know that preparation is harder. I do think preparation's different. We're at the mercy of CBS or television networks, so you could play a late game, play an early game. There's sleep patterns. There's obviously the day between the Friday and the Sunday game, or the Thursday and the Saturday game of the Elite Eight. I mean, you're talking about a 30-minute practice and mainly a walkthrough, where most of the time you'd be able to really practice more or do different things. And then this time of year also, fatigue mentally becomes such a huge factor. You don't want to just wear your guys out by doing too much. So I was with Coach Knight when we went to the Final Four one year, or our first year. I asked him any advice. He said, yeah, don't practice on Sunday if you win. I said, what do you mean don't practice? We got to practice. He said, don't practice on Sunday. I saw him Sunday evening at an event, and he said, how long did you practice today? And I said, 18 minutes. Too long. You totally blew it. But that's kind of the mindset that fresh legs and fresh minds are far more important than practice time.
Follow up upon that. What makes you think the mindset of this team that you have can get through this moment in the Elite Eight and get to the Final Four?
Well, I think, first of all, I don't want them to think get through. I want them to think attack it. Get through is a defensive deal, hoping to hang on to something. I want them to play like they're going to take it. So that's the mindset. And this team has had, there's no guarantee that anybody's going to play good the next day. What happens today, even though you want to practice well, doesn't guarantee success tomorrow. But the mindset of having a team that has some swagger about them, that likes the big moments, I think gives me and them quite a bit of confidence.
Go to the back row on the center aisle.
Thank you. Mitch Smith, New York Times. Given the number of super seniors on the team, can you talk a little bit about how the extra year of eligibility from COVID helped shape the team's roster and kind of what that's meant down the stretch from the tournament?
You know what? It really hasn't shaped ours as much. We've got, obviously, Remy and Mitch. Those are two guys that wouldn't have had the year back if it weren't for the COVID. Jalen Coleman-Lands really hadn't had a chance to play much, but you're looking at, if you just look at just our starters, those starters all have eligibility left. So the thing about it is, even though we're an old team, they technically could all come back next year. I do think this. I think what's happened with the, you look at the team we played last night, Providence. If they didn't have those four cats, they would look a lot different. If we didn't have Remy, we'd look a lot different. You look across America. If Villanova didn't have Gillespie, they'd look a lot different. I believe he's a super senior as well. So I think it's been great for the individuals. I also think it's been great for the quality of ball this year, to give these kids an opportunity to play another year, but also to give teams a chance to maybe keep from dipping. Because there hasn't been much of this. It's been mainly pretty steady.
Go to the front row on the left.
Bill, how beneficial just Mitch and Chris being on that team in 2018 is for a moment like this?
You know what? I would think maybe a little bit beneficial. Chris didn't participate in the game, and he may have got in late because it wasn't a great game, unfortunately. But Mitch has been through it quite a few big games and big moments, so it may help some, but I'm really not buying into that stuff as much. I think this is a really a first-time experience basically for this team, even though Mitch played in this game one other time, but I don't really see in that being a huge benefit.
Go to the second row on the right.
Hi, Coach. Austin Lawton, IUPUI Sports Capital Journalism Program. Last night, you guys became the winningest men's basketball program in history. Something that doesn't happen every day. What does that mean for you personally to add to the history of Kansas since you've been here so long as well?
Well, I think, we started quite a few games behind. So we made up a little bit of ground, and it certainly means something. And I'd much rather be there than not be there. But really all it means, guys, is that we won a game last night, and we get a chance to go and increase that big deficit of 1 by winning, doubling it by winning a game tomorrow. And to me, that's all it really matters. The other thing is, the way it could be said is that, we passed Kentucky, so that's just the way it is. Well, this could last until, November 15th, and then it could flip again December 1st. So I'd rather be talked about in that light than not, but it really doesn't be a good recruiting mail out, but I don't think it carries much weight with us right now.
Go to the far left.
Hey, Bill, Jay Cohen, Associated Press. Wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your relationship with Jim Larinaga over the years, like how far do you go back and stuff? And when I say to you, a Jim Larinaga coach team, what traits does that kind of bring to mind for you?
Well, I really haven't known Jim long or well. Of course, I've known of him and knew him, but the most time that I've spent with him is on an Adidas retreat in the summertime, where we both went and had a chance to have some dinners together and hang out together, and I think we've become friendly since then. When I think of his teams, I think well coached, but I also think of freedom. It seems like to me he always has his teams playing with joy, with a free mind, and aggressive offensively, which I think is a great trait to have as a coach.
Go in the back row on the right side.
Coach Lawrence Kramer, the DePaulia. What do you make of Charlie Moore's growth as a player since he left Kansas, and is there any advantage of having coached him to now preparing to face him tomorrow?
Well, first of all, Charlie's playing his tail off. I think Charlie may have the best vision of anybody left in the tournament. The guy sees a lot of things. He did with us. He didn't play a lot when he was with us for 1 year, just in large part because we had 2 NBA players playing the guard slots then. But Charlie's talented. He's clever. He can get his own shot, and he can certainly create for others. And he's crafty. He's very crafty. I mean, he can do little things that get you off balance that allow him to get his shoulders past you and things like that. But Charlie was a good player for us, but Charlie has become a terrific player. I thought I didn't follow him as close. I watched as much as I could when he was at DePaul, and I thought he had a good 2 years there. I think it was 2 years there. But to me, his game's gone to another level, being at the University of Miami. I think he's just done fantastic, and I'm happy for him. I was happy for all the kids that's no longer in our programs that do well, and he certainly has.
Go to the back row on the left.
Coach Braxton Jones, KWCH in Wichita. I'm just curious, the time, I don't know if any at all, do you spend looking at last night's tape, looking at what you guys did right and wrong versus all aboard for Miami? How do you kind of marry that to make sure you're getting the most out of the short time you have to turn around before games?
I'm embarrassed to say I hadn't looked at one play from last night's game. Got home late, watched the end of, obviously, the game after us last night, watching Miami and Iowa State. And then after that game was over, watched Miami in the tournament and some ACC tournament games. And I still got a couple more games to watch, and we spent quite a lot of time watching a long edit, which is basically showing their actions or the defense, what they like to do over and over and over. But at this point in time, I mean, I'm big at watching film of past games and learning from our mistakes and our successes. But this weekend, we won't do any of that. It's all locked in on Miami.
Go to the right side on the aisle.
Bill, last couple of weeks, I'm not sure, but maybe our shooting numbers have dipped a little bit, but certainly our opponents' shooting numbers are really going down, and they're not playing as well, which is what you always talk about. How How close is this team getting to accomplishing, what you always have looked at in making sure opponents don't play well and being tough and being defensive minded?
I think that, Dave, I think we're getting closer. I thought last night the first half is the best we've played defensively, but it's probably as poor as we played offensively too. So, your team goes 7-35 and you're up 9.5. That's probably not a great recipe for success because tables will turn eventually. Law averages will come closer to prevailing, and it did the second half. We had to fight our butts off to get the win. But I do think we've improved in that. But to win at this level, and from this point forward in the NCAA tournament, you got to do both. And we're still waiting for the lid to come off, but we believe that'll happen tomorrow.
Got time for 2 more questions in the room. I'll take 2 via Zoom. We'll go on the left side.
In addition to coaching Charlie, another guy you've seen in person, Cameron Mcgusty, what does he add to Miami's success?
He had a good run at Oklahoma, and playing for Lon, but this is to me the development of these guys being able to go get their own shot. To me is very apparent. He was a good scorer at OU. He can score all 3 levels now, and he can get it with his handle. He can get it off the catch. He can explode over you. There's a lot of things he can do to score, and they have multiple guys that can do that. So that's what makes this team hard to guard, in my opinion.
Go to the front right.
Bill, I was wondering about the health of the team. Like Dave got off to a slow start, then had a great second half. How is Dave and Mitch?
I actually think Mitch is the best he's been. So I thought Mitch was great the first half. I thought he's the best he's been. And Dave, I don't think anything is as much health related. He just got off to a slow start, but he did respond late.
Take a couple questions via Zoom. We'll go to Dave Stewart. Dave, you can unmute your line.
Hey, Coach. Dave Stewart, Jayhawk Game Day Live, KMBC. How much can you teach about an opponent in 24 hours? How do you prioritize what's important to focus on in limited time and not just overwhelm your guys mentally with so much cramming?
Well, I think you can familiarize them with personnel, with tendencies, especially a team like Miami that scores so much off individual talent. I do think that we can do a good job with that. All their actions they run, we're not going to remember all those, but you can familiarize them with it. But understand, okay, this is how we guard ball screens, or this is how we guard, baseline runner, or this is how we guard different actions that maybe some teams throw at you. But I don't think it's a time where you do anything other than play to principles. And so hopefully our guys know well enough how we guard certain things that we won't have to know every move or every step or every screen that Miami will use tomorrow in order to be effective guarding it.
All right, next question is from Christopher Heidel.
Hey, Chris Self. It's Chris Heidel from Herman Radio in Baltimore. Congratulations on making an Elite Eight. How hard is it to prepare for a team that you haven't played before, like in Miami? Because you don't really play the ACC that much.
No, really the only team we played in the ACC, if I remember right, we played Duke every 3 years. So that's been about it. So at least off the top of my head. But they'll be a hard team to prepare for it. But also they've got to prepare for us too. So I don't see it. I think if you haven't seen somebody, you would rather have it be the first game rather than a second game. And if if it was us and Iowa State, I think both teams would say it's an easier prep just because we'd both be so familiar with each other. But you can look at it as a disadvantage for us, but however it is for us, it's for them too. So I think it'll be difficult, but I don't think it'll be anything that both teams can't handle if they play well.
One final question, Brian.
Bill Bryant Hamsel from The Athletic. Do you allow yourself to think about what might have been in 2020? And do you feel like this team and that team have any similarities or differences?
I never felt like this team was the best team in the country this year. I felt like in 20 that was the best team in the country. So I don't really think about it a lot and I don't think that team probably gets the credit from, you know, I hear a lot of people talk about, well, we would have been a high seed or a 1 seed, or we had a great chance to go deep in the tournament, and that's true, but that team was different. You know, there's not very many teams you could ever put out there that'd be the National Defensive Player of the Year is your center, and the National Defensive Player of the Year is your guard. I mean, that team could really guard. That was a different level, a defensive team. This year's team is different, totally, but I do think that this year's team has the same chance to do as well, just because they have a strong belief that they can accomplish anything, and it's been impressive for me to watch them grow in that belief this year.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Okay,
We'll see you tomorrow.
thanks.